Welcome to Making It Yappin. This episode, my guest is Rhiley.
Hi, I'm Rhiley.
First time shooting this.
First time, definitely. Rhiley, why'd you throw me off?
It's fine.
Okay. Rhiley, aka StaticDetonator, aka Simp Imperator, aka Terzo's baby mama.
Formerly known as
Papa Noel's sugar baby.
Which was given to me.
Yes. And this is Skye.
This is Skye. You've probably seen her in a previous episode. She likes to be on the table. She likes to be the center of attention.
She heard us recording, and so she
knew.
decided that she
I
needed to
be
join
part
us.
of that. So, my voice is a little challenged right now. I have tonsillitis again. It's probably caused by whooping cough, which is a whole story about how adults can get whooping cough, even though it's a Victorian child disease. And our main subject today is going to be about our chronic illnesses and just the fact that our bodies are constantly trying to kill us.
Yeah,
And
basically.
there is hair flying everywhere.
Dangers of cats.
So, since I started dying first, I started dying really young. When I was 6, I got type 1 diabetes, which is, I'm not going to go super into it. There is a huge misconception about diabetes because a lot of people don't know that there are 2 kinds. So a lot of people are familiar with the kind that is lifestyle induced, where if you have an unhealthy lifestyle, especially if you just consume a lot of just sugar, your body doesn't know how to process it and you will develop diabetes. And those are the kinds of diabetics who typically avoid sugar and carbs. And so people often get confused when I, as a known diabetic, am consuming sugar and carbs, or like I need sugar. Leaving the Virginia ritual.
Oh yeah, when we went
you were there.
Yeah, when we were leaving the Ghost concert in Virginia.
The what?
The Virginia ritual.
Yeah.
There was
someone in the parking lot handing out drinks because they'd been tailgating earlier in the day, and they had like Mountain Dews and Gatorade and water, and I just wanted water. I was thirsty and my blood sugar was fine. But then they saw me drinking it and they saw my glucose monitor on my arm, and the guy just casually remarked, he's like, "Oh, she's diabetic. She doesn't need sugar." I'm like,
no Gatorade for you.
I don't have the energy to argue with you right now, but I actually do need sugar quite a lot.
You probably should have had sugar at that point.
I should have. It would have helped me, but
what
I just
happened?
wasn't thinking. Oh,
After
yeah,
that,
what happened?
So she had come back to my house after the ritual.
Yes.
After the ritual, and very soon ended up passing out on my bedroom floor.
I mean, I didn't like lose consciousness. It was just my body was exhausted. I was dehydrated because we had been standing in line in the sun all day.
We had been there like
9 a.m. or something.
Yeah,
we had gotten up earlier.
We were up for like 15 hours out in the sun all day.
So like that wasn't like a diabetic thing. That was just a exhaustion, dehydration. But yeah, Gatorade would have been great, but that guy probably wouldn't have let me have it. So quick rundown of the type that I have. It's an autoimmune disorder, which autoimmune disorders are when your body just is stupid and decides to turn on itself. So it took out the part of my body that makes insulin, and insulin is required to process food and turn it into energy. So I got that at 6 years old. I did not have an unhealthy lifestyle. I did not consume too much sugar. It just happens. It runs in the family, and it happened to me. And so I got the special kind, they told me, called labral or brittle diabetes, which also just means it's hard to manage, and I will have like sudden crashes in my blood sugar. Mm-hmm. And a sudden crash in my blood sugar, it's basically like a video game life bar. When it gets to a certain point, you have no life left. And the ceiling is way higher than the floor, so like there's a good range for me. Right now, my doctor says between 100 and 200 because I do run low. Mm-hmm. And once I get below 100, I start losing energy and kind of focus really hard.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I've been present for her low blood sugar
so
many times.
And yeah, if it gets past 40, I will probably lose consciousness. So under 100, I don't have very far to go. Over 200, I've only one time, and that was the first time I was hospitalized for it, I have only ever lost consciousness that one time from being high, and that was like 900.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, because no one knew I had it, so like it just kept going up until I lost consciousness, and then I was taken to the doctor. So
Oh, was that when you were diagnosed?
Yeah, when I was 6. So that is why. And so Red, who was in our first episode, she is a first aid instructor, and that is why she said when she teaches people, so if you find an unconscious person, assume low instead of high, because if a low person doesn't get sugar, they're more likely to die, whereas if someone is passed out from being high, it will take longer for sugar to harm them. So yeah, if you ever find an unconscious person and you're checking their vital, sugar, yeah.
Juice.
Sugar,
Best option.
juice,
Candy.
if they're unconscious and unable to swallow, I carry sugar packets with me, and you can basically pour that like under their tongue, and it'll start like dissolving.
Oh yeah, because the saliva.
Yeah. So fun fact, save a life.
Sugar packets.
Yeah. And then other stuff happened to me, but how's your body trying to kill you?
Undiagnosed invisible illnesses.
Yay!
I have a lot of chronic pain. I've had a lot of chronic pain for a long time. Even when I was, so I'm 24 now, and I use a mobility aid. This is a more recent thing. So I use a mobility aid at the age of 24, but I've had chronic pain since I was in my teens, like unexplainable back pain that I couldn't even get out of bed.
Yeah.
Standing for long periods of time. I had a retail job when I was in high school, and I couldn't like stand for full shifts, which was really difficult. My ankles and my knees would just, and I was active. I was much more active at that point. I was a dancer.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't like I was completely unfit or anything. It was just like, my body's like, no.
Yeah.
Plus I just have,
and that, not to diagnose you, but it does kind of sound like a type of autoimmune, because it sounds like your body just something stopped working.
Yeah. I've considered Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which I had heard of it when I was younger, and I never considered that I had it until I was older, and I was like, wait. So I'm still working on figuring out a diagnosis. It's just really difficult, especially as someone who is on the heavier side and has always been, it runs in my family.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who...
I'm going to move this hair off
That
the
is
microphone.
very fine. It is extremely difficult to get a diagnosis. I've had so many blood tests run on me. I've had like CAT scans. I do know that I get kidney stones, which are awful.
Because you don't drink water.
There's a myriad of things I have been diagnosed with, alongside things I haven't been diagnosed with. Kidney stones being one of them. That started being an issue when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was like a freshman in high school. Poor freshman me. Alongside physical illnesses, also dealing with mental illness. I have high blood pressure that I'm having trouble managing, even with medication. My body just hates me. But chronic pain, so standing for long periods of time, walking a lot. So I have decent mobility just in general, but it will wear me out, and I will end up in pain. And there's days that it's really, really difficult to get out of bed, to
so
walk.
it's like you have like...
I have good days, I have bad days.
But also similar to like an energy bar, like, or a life bar. Like you start with a certain amount of energy and you use it up.
Yeah, like spoons.
Yeah.
Like spoons.
Your spoons.
Yeah, so like mental health, there's mental health spoons, and there's also physical spoons. My body is just trying to, it is very, very difficult to get a diagnosis as someone who is on the heavier side. And it's a mixture of physical and mental health issues that are combining together.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that part of my high blood pressure comes from my anxiety.
Yeah.
Because always in flight mode, like Skye, apparently. So even though I'm also medicated for my anxiety, I still have issues with my high blood pressure and my anxiety.
Yeah.
Hello.
She's here to help.
She is here to help. Skye.
She is a therapy kitty.
She really is.
She should be. Oh my god.
Yes.
Only problem is she doesn't like going places. So you have to bring yourself to her for therapy.
I'll bring myself
yeah.
to Skye for therapy.
The unfortunate thing with autoimmune diseases is you rarely get one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Comorbid.
Yep. So I, in my teens, like 13 or something, started developing a skin condition that was autoimmune where my skin didn't know how to rebuild itself. Even just not even just from injury, just normal recycling of skin cells just in this area on my arm did not know how to fix itself, and the skin would just get really rigid and tight. So I was on steroid creams for a couple years, and even those did damage because steroids, as I am on right now, are very strong. They are necessary, but oh my god.
Because we had another fainting spell earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
from the
so
steroids.
I have been in your presence. I'm always in your presence when this happens, I swear.
Yeah. What was the third time?
When after we saw Ice Nine Kills last year, we were in DC after
on the
we saw
sidewalk.
Yes, we went and saw New Year's Day, Avatar, In This Moment, and Ice Nine Kills.
Which, sidebar, I went to see Ice Nine Kills, and I went away loving Avatar.
Oh yeah, we
and
went.
now we've gone to see them again as a headliner, and we are seeing them again in September.
We love Avatar. Okay. But anyways, so we were leaving.
Yes.
We're walking through the streets of DC with our friend, and we're talking.
Yeah.
And your fainting spell will hit out of nowhere.
Again, I didn't, faint. I didn't lose consciousness as my body just quits.
Yeah, so...
It was also really cold that day.
It was so cold. It was in November.
Yeah.
We were in DC.
It was
and
the
wharf.
end of the night, so I was hungry, I was thirsty.
11:30, something like that.
I was hungry, thirsty.
Anyways, we were tired, hungry, thirsty,
Porque
cold.
no lo svenska?
We're tired, hungry, cold. And we're talking as we're walking back to the car. We have our giant balloon.
I was holding your balloon.
No, you had your own balloon.
Oh.
I had my balloon in my hand. These giant.
Did I lose my balloon because I fell?
You dropped it. I had to grab it for you. You did bring it back because we took the photo on the doorstep.
Yes.
Anyways, so we're carrying our giant In This Moment balloons.
I didn't keep mine. I think I left it with her because
You must
I couldn't
have.
take it on the train.
I kept mine.
Yeah.
And I kept it in its full state for months, and I only
It just slowly...
It did. The thing is that it was still, by the time I actually decided to fully deflate it, it was still like this. Oh, and I'm knocking lights over. But no. So yeah, the thing just did not, I guess since it didn't have helium.
But I've never had a balloon do that.
Yeah, I guess since the latex was really thick and that it wasn't filled with helium, it was just filled with regular air so that they could bounce around. It just did not fully deflate. So it's fully deflated now, sitting on my shelf. Anyways, back to what we were talking about.
Careful, SpongeBob.
Careful, SpongeBob. So we were walking down the street. We were walking up a hill.
Make our way downtown.
Walking slow.
Really slow because we were all in foot pain.
Oh my god, yeah. Let's see. So we were at the top of the hill, actually. And we were having a conversation, normal. And then all of a sudden, May just goes silent and down. And the first thing I noticed, I think, was the balloon because it just started
You just
bouncing.
kept going.
So I grabbed the balloon. Our other friend was like grabbing May.
Yeah.
You went down on like the concrete.
Oh yeah, I like hurt my knee.
Yeah, you hurt your knee. And I was just like, oh, holy shit. Okay, it's happening again. Because this is
Time
three months after the first time.
Yeah.
And of course,
like, oh,
again,
obviously.
it's with me. Always. Have you ever?
You.
It's
Carry on.
okay. So you went down.
I felt. Good job.
Just like Holy Mary.
Okay. Good job.
So May went down just like Holy Mary. Mariana.
Marijuana.
Cross. Oh my gosh. Skye's back already.
Hey. She's offended.
She is. How dare you? You went down, and it was like that. Mm-hmm. Like 1 second you were talking to us, next second you were on the ground. Thankfully you recovered pretty quickly from that one.
And I didn't fall into the street.
Yeah, you didn't fall in.
We were on a sidewalk.
We were on the sidewalk, and we were getting closer to the street.
I feel like one time I did kind of fall into the street, like with someone else. Like I fell like into the street, and there were no cars, thankfully.
Yeah. But yeah, we were walking.
Because I do collapse with other people, just so you know.
I've just been present 3 times, including today.
So what's up with today?
So I guess so. You're
In the beginning.
in the beginning. In the beginning. I'm sorry. That will always make me laugh. Anyways, so your heart rate jumped.
Yeah.
Your heart.
Well, I mean, like this morning.
Oh, yeah, so this
How did
morning-
we get here?
So this morning, I
Yeah.
said this morning as if it wasn't like
It was 2 p.m.
it was 2 p.m. We had stayed up until like what 4?
Yeah.
Watching Hannibal, as we do. After watching the movie for the second time.
First time together, and then we're going again tomorrow.
Yes, we are. So we're, we got up around 2.
Yep.
I had been up and down. That's one of my things as I get up.
That's your thing.
That is my thing. So by the time that May actually got up, I think you just were looking at me and you were trying to get water in your system.
I was trying to speak.
She couldn't speak.
It was not working.
Yeah, she couldn't speak. Her tonsils were
I just kept going.
Yeah, sure. Her tonsils were so swollen that she couldn't speak. She was struggling to breathe.
Yeah.
You couldn't swallow, so trying to get water down was difficult.
So I will say it wasn't blocking my throat like anaphylaxis or anything. It was just they were so big I couldn't swallow, and it was interfering with my vocal cords and everything.
Yeah. So we had discussed this yesterday. You were like, "Oh, I think maybe we should go to urgent care."
On Thursday, my throat felt weird, irritated, but it didn't hurt and it wasn't interfering with anything. I just felt like a tickle. And then I looked at my tonsils and they didn't look happy. So I was like, oh, Friday we should go to urgent care and just get this checked out. But I was not in distress or pain or anything.
Yeah. And
so then on Friday we just didn't have time.
Yeah.
Because we slept late.
We slept late.
We stayed up.
As we do.
Yeah.
And then we had to get ready and go to see the movie.
Yeah. So I was still decent
you
on
were fine.
Friday. When we got back, my throat was hurting a little, when I went to sleep. So then I kept waking up with a sore throat and just being like, no, I'll be fine when I wake up because I've done that before. I did that the last time you were here.
I was here.
Yeah. I started to get a tickle in my throat and a little bit of pain the evening before Black Veil Brides.
Oh,
and
that's
I just
right,
decided I wouldn't get sick because I had to go to Black Veil Brides and sing. And I chugged emergency. And by the time we were leaving, my throat was okay, and I was fine singing, and I was fine the next day. So I was like, it's going to be like that again. I'm just going to decide to not get sick.
You're just going to will yourself to not
I've
get
done that
sick.
a few times, and it is just because of the chugging of emergency helps so much.
Yeah.
Sponsor. Emergency.
So
Yeah.
she couldn't speak,
Yeah.
and I just went urgent care, and she goes, and so I was like, all right, let me get up, let me go piss, let me get dressed, and then we're gonna go to urgent care. Thankfully, urgent care, very close by.
Very empty.
Very empty. We were very
Shout
thankful.
out to AFC Urgent Care.
Yeah. Got you in. Got you.
With the same nurse who saw me the last time I had this exact problem. She was really cool.
Yeah, she was really nice. She was really friendly. And she was just she very much just wanted you to get better because she felt really sorry for you. I had to go in and talk for May because she couldn't speak. So we got in. Doctor looked at you, got your, and he was like, all right, we're going to put you on steroids.
Yep. Which is the same thing they did last time.
Steroids and antibiotics.
At the same time.
Double dose.
Yeah, so they gave me like a bigger dose than I would take at home because he was like, let's get you started strong. And that way you don't have to worry about taking it until tomorrow afternoon. So I got 2 antibiotic amoxicillin pills and 4 prednisone. And now I'm on the same steroids as my cat. But yeah, 4 prednisone, and I was pretty okay until like a few hours ago, and then they just started
And they hit you really
kicking
hard.
my ass, and I was like, oh, I forgot how strong steroids are, because they just make me really like kind of woozy and foggy, and then
Hey, who is that? Oh, is that a newt? So
And they make my heart rate go up.
and they make your heart rate go up. Also, the steroids took effect really fast, and within the hour you were able to talk normally.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
we went to the
they're,
pharmacy.
They're magical. Like, I'm so glad I have them, because
They worked their magic.
Yeah.
They did what they
like
did.
I would say like within 30 minutes, because we went like next door to the pharmacy and
Yeah.
I was able to like talk pretty okay. They are amazing.
But yeah, your
my heart rate
jumped.
was like 128 or something. I had to sit down. I was getting hot, and then we were all just standing.
We were all just
talking.
standing, chatting, and all of a sudden, I just feel May, like you grabbed onto my arm or something, and she started going down, and I grabbed her, and I grabbed like the doorway.
Because I was
popped
trying to
my nails off.
They were coming.
They were already starting to come off, but I lost a couple of nails
Yeah,
in the process.
I saw it like flying, and I was like, oh shit! Did like a screw come out of the door?
No, I lost nails to catch you because you just went
felt
down.
it coming like the second before, so I tried to like
Yeah, she like leaned on me,
hold
and I was like,
but then my leg said no.
Skye, I would like to talk without your tail in my mouth, please. But yeah, so we had to catch you on the way down, and then, so like with these, I'm going to call them fainting spells because that's what they are. You lose it for like a second. I can tell you're out of it.
Okay.
So in these fainting spells, from my perspective, you are really out of it. Your conscience, you're able to communicate with me.
Yeah.
Because I will always ask you, is there anything that you need?
Yeah, because it's more like, it's not like neurological. It's just
Body.
That time was especially like blood pressure.
Yeah, your blood pressure probably like
was really high.
yeah. So you're like coherent enough, but you're definitely really out of it. And then you just usually need a few minutes to just lay down on the floor.
Yeah, floor time.
Floor time, and recover, and then
Now that everyone knows about floor time,
floor time.
the normies found floor time.
I love recreational floor time. Just laying on the floor, especially with my chronic pain. Yeah, I like to lay on the floor sometimes just to like help my back align.
And you've also been there when like I've had like blood sugar crashes in public, like at Steel City, when Ariane had to go upstairs and get me a Mountain Dew.
You had a blood sugar crash last time I was here.
I did.
So first thing in the morning, you had a blood sugar crash. And I like looked over, and you were really, I think, out of it.
My alarm was going off.
Your alarm had been going off. Your monitor is attached to your phone. I am able to recognize like when that's what's going on off on your phone. And so I kept hearing, like, I think you checked it and you're like, you know, you do your thing. And you're like, oh, it's fine.
There's a level that I'm like tolerant of, like, if I'm really tired and I can tell it's not going down, it's just hovering low and I'm tired, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah. But it was getting like really low.
Yeah. There's a difference between like it's low and then like urgent low.
Yeah.
Urgent.
And yeah. And so it hit that and I could tell again, it's that you get out of it and you're not fully there.
You're not you when you're low.
Maybe you just needed a Snickers.
Have a juicy juice.
And so you had ran out of juice. Because I think that's one of the things you drank a juice.
Yeah.
And then you were out.
It kept going because
and it kept
like,
going down.
We were so active for several days, and when I'm more active, my blood sugar just keeps crashing.
Yeah, we did 3 concerts that week.
Yeah.
3 concerts that week. Plus I did another one
and
after that.
was the day after I'm on a Marth. So yeah, I was tired because Jenna was downstairs.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Shout out to Jenna.
Yeah.
She'll be in a future episode, hopefully.
So I was able to figure out pretty quickly. I was like, your blood sugar's low. I was like, do you have anything up here? You were like, I don't need more juice. You're obviously very out of it. I was like, all right, where is it? Ran down here, grabbed your juice boxes, ran up. I got your juice all ready for you.
You prepped my juice just the way I like it. Which is so cute.
Yeah, I like put the flaps up and I squished it and I put the straw in and I had it ready just how she liked it. And yeah, you got to drink your juice and after that you were doing
like I revived pretty quickly.
Yeah, you got your juice and I think you actually had 2 juices.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, you get your juice and then you were all good.
Yeah, and then we went downstairs and watched movies.
Yes.
With Hot Priest.
Hot Priest. That wasn't really a priest.
He was not, but he wore it, so like that counts. That also woke me up. She basically said like
Hot Priest, and I went.
She said, we're watching a movie where Mark Dacascos plays a priest. Oh no. He's so nice. Oh my god.
Yeah, I had a very, very brief interaction. You had much more of an interaction with him, but he saw our group.
Sitting on the floor.
Sitting on the floor at Steel City Con, said that we looked cool, so that was nice.
Because he was like the last guest to leave.
He really was,
His handlers left before he did, and he was like...
Yeah, no, he was really, really nice. Where were we going with this?
I mean, like, the main point about, like, wanting to talk about chronic illness is obviously, I don't want to make it my personality. I'm not going to talk about it all the time, but I do want to kind of share and reinforce the fact that, like, looking like you have, you know, a great life online doesn't mean you don't have problems. I know I'm not, like, an influencer or anything, but, like, I meet people and they're like, oh my god, you have, like, this great life. You travel to cons, you work at conventions, you get to travel a lot and cosplay. And I do. I'm not saying I have a bad life. But, you know, there are things that, like, I'm not able to do because of that. I'm not really able to work, like, a normal job. And you said you had trouble with, like, being on your feet for a job.
Yeah, like, just stuff... like really, really wears me out. I have a lot of chronic fatigue.
Yeah, and I'm able to do things, but inconsistently because some days my body will decide, no, you're not. Like again, if I had a job and I was supposed to work today,
you would have been
I could
screwed.
not. I would have had to call out, and I don't know how long I'm going to be incapacitated because the medications that I'm on that have to treat this do greatly incapacitate me.
Mm-hmm. And if you were driving to a job or something, like, that's honestly dangerous for you to be driving.
Yeah.
Not operating heavy machinery while you're on steroids.
Oh, yeah. No, like, you're not supposed to. And also, like, it is easier now with the continuous monitor. But it's dangerous for diabetics to drive, especially if you get sudden lows and you
Oh,
don't notice
yeah.
them. That's
Never really thought about
actually,
that.
that happened to my grandmother, I think more than once, but the last time it happened, like she ended up dying from those injuries from the car
Oh
crash.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm
So,
like,
yeah,
it is. I don't drive for several reasons. I'm starting to learn because I would like to just at least know how to operate a vehicle if I need to, like in an emergency, transport someone or take over for someone.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I'm safe to be constantly on the road if that happens. And obviously, I do have that like in the back of my head, like, you know, this happened to
Yeah.
my grandmother. She basically like broke a ton of her ribs and her neck and everything.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then she never really like left care after that.
Wow. Yeah. Being a disabled person means that you have to sometimes really, really depend on other people
Oh, yeah.
to transport you. I'm lucky that I can consistently drive.
Yeah.
Though driving long hours does make my back flare up,
Yeah.
as I figured that out on Thursday.
Yeah.
I
And
drove-
not just to like transport you, but to kind of check on you. Because like if I, you know, had a low at home and I was delirious and I was out of juice and couldn't have gotten to it, I would have just kept being low.
Yeah, you have
So
to when you're
it's- yeah.
you have to depend a lot on other people.
Yeah. And it's
and you don't have much of a choice either.
yeah, it's dangerous to be alone. Take this.
I'm lucky that I have the ability to be mobile.
Yeah.
A lot, like both my body physically and the fact that I can drive. But I do use a mobility aid sometimes. And that's been a thing.
Yeah.
To like, so I got it in December, January, something
And has
like
that like prevented you from being able to do things you wanted?
It's awkward to navigate sometimes, but the whole reason I use a mobility aid is actually so that I can continue to do things. I feel like that's a hard thing for some people, my mom in particular. I've had just a lot of trouble navigating me using a mobility aid. So I use a rollator, so a fully wheeled walker basically, and it has a seat for me to sit on, which has been so helpful.
And keep your stuff in. Keep my
I
stuff in.
can, yeah, I can like put my like carrying stuff, especially
Yeah.
right now. Like I don't know if I pulled a muscle or something.
Yeah.
But like holding things has been really difficult for me lately. So it has enabled me to be able to words.
Take your time.
Keep doing stuff.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, a lot of these things, I, struggle to keep
Yeah.
up.
No,
Like,
honestly, same thing with being able to use a continuous glucose monitor that feeds into my phone as opposed to
constantly.
old like finger prick kind that a lot of people are familiar with. I didn't really do concerts before getting the continuous glucose monitor. Not so much only because of that. One, there weren't really any bands that I cared about enough to go see. The only band that I would have cared enough to go see wasn't touring anymore. So I was like, and I wasn't like, I liked music. I liked listening to music, and I talked about this in like the music episode. I liked music, but I didn't like artists. I didn't really care who sang it. There weren't really artists that I admired. I liked the sound of it. So I didn't go to concerts. But yeah, like I cannot imagine trying to do a concert without a continuous glucose monitor.
Oh my god, imagine like being in the pit
Me
trying
trying to stick my fingers in the pit. No, it's not possible.
No, that would you would be forced to be in seats.
In the seats?
Which that's also been something I've had to navigate.
Yeah, you couldn't go in the pit with your rollator.
Yeah, as much as I would love to do that, it just isn't feasible. The thing is that it takes up space. And, like, oh my gosh. So, for Black Foot Brides and for Amon Amarth, I was navigating using ADA seating for like the first time because again, this is a newer thing for me to be doing at events. So it sucks that I can't use or can't be out in the pit. And there are days that I do.
Which you managed in the pit for Avatar. Thankfully, that was at the beginning of that week.
Yeah,
and
so
then
that was
we
the
were
first.
both burned out.
Yeah, so sometimes there's. I'm lucky that I have the choice.
Yeah.
I feel very, very fortunate that I have the choice to be able to decide that I'm not going to use my mobility aid. Wow. Squeak. But that's one of the reasons that it's so important for me to get barrier.
Yeah.
As
you can use the barrier.
I can use the barrier as support.
Oh, same, yeah.
So for both Avatar and for Sleep Token that week, I was thankfully barrier for both and was able to lean. People were very accommodating when I needed to sit.
And plus, at the barrier, it's easy to sit if you need to.
So I'm very, very thankful that people have been accommodating in pits.
And I'm so glad that was at the beginning of the week when we had the most energy and we were able to take the other shows a little easier.
Mm-hmm. We also just weren't as serious about either of the other concerts, but I'm thankful that I had the option. Mm-hmm. And that we were still able to see, we had a great view for Amon Amarth.
Oh my god, like, shout out to the crew at the Fillmore.
Oh my gosh, who were being so helpful. Yeah. And so accommodating for us. And it was nice to be able to have the option to sit or, because I did get up.
You got up for a couple songs.
I got up for a couple of songs. Black Veil Brides, I was up and down a lot.
I mean, I appreciated it too, because, like, I would get, like, winded quickly and, like, dehydrated, so it was nice to be able to, like, sit if I didn't know a song and just, like, have a drink and everything and not worry about it tipping. Yeah.
And navigating conventions. I have been so thankful to have my rollator at conventions. So I've been doing conventions for 10 years now. And one of the things is that it's just a lot of walking. A lot of walking around.
A lot of walking.
A lot of walking.
A lot of walking around.
And standing on, like, concrete floors.
Yeah.
The worst.
Can we get more carpeted conventions, please? Usually those are, like, in hotels.
Yeah. Even then, a lot of those don't have a lot of support underneath the concrete.
Concrete. Fuck yeah, concrete.
ADHD. So being able to have something that I can support, like, so one of the things I like that I use my rollator for in particular is taking pressure off my back. If I can use my arms and my shoulders to pull weight off of my back. Because, of course, you know, when it comes to choosing a mobility aid, a lot of people go for canes just because, like, that's the easiest option.
Yeah, small, transportable.
Small, transportable, but the thing is that for me, the cane doesn't do much.
Yeah, because you're still basically having to hold the cane in place.
Having to hold the cane, as also, it just doesn't support me how I need support. My grandmother uses a cane, so I've tried a cane out. I have had a lot of discussions with my grandmother. She has knee issues. She had a knee replacement recently, and so she's been using a cane as she's gone through her physical therapy. And, like, I've tried out her cane, and I was just like, this doesn't feel like it'd help me at all. It's just really awkward for me. I don't have, like, one knee or one leg that's, like, weaker than the other, so it doesn't make any sense for me to use a cane. Whereas the rollator, it helps both sides because it's generally both sides of my body are killing me. but I have been able to walk around a lot more at conventions. I sit wherever I need to, which is really nice. I can just like tuck myself to the side and just sit down.
Yeah, because not all cons have chairs.
Like a certain one that we went to. But navigating with my rollator has been interesting, and I know that some people I've had discussions with people about navigating conventions, specifically like ones at the Gaylord in Maryland. So MagFest and KatsuCon, because I attended both this year.
You should do some articles about that.
I should, honestly. And I think I've had discussions with people about having panels about accessibility at conventions and navigating disability at conventions. Because, oh my God, some people are great. Some people are really awesome. Holding doors open, people are so good about that. And I really appreciate it. When there's a lot of people, when they see that I have a mobility aid, will very quickly get out of the way, make space for me. And
I like walking behind you.
Yeah, because I have like a battering ram. So, so it, you know.
That's why, no other reason.
Toot. But like elevators. Oh my God. I've had people just like fully walk in front of me to get on elevators.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to have fun at DragonCon.
Oh, I know.
Have you heard about DragonCon elevators?
They're worse than KatsuCon elevators.
They're worse. Basically, the rule with the DragonCon elevator is if you have an open elevator, you get on no matter which way it's going.
Oh, go up to go down.
Yes.
The way I've had to tell so many people, I was like, don't even
just get on board.
Just get on. You will get to where you're going eventually.
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to end up waiting for an elevator for longer than. Yeah. Go up to go down is always a.
Because if you don't get on, it's going to go up, and then other people are going to get on it, and you're not going to get your turn.
Yeah. So go up to go down. But people would rush in front of me to get on elevators. And I had people witness this, and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Because especially like MagFest literally has signs to be like, oh, you know, allow for people with mobility aids to get onto the elevators first, especially because people use them to get between the like atrium, lobby, and gazebo levels. And so I have to depend on the elevators when I have my mobility aid. Because, you know, other people can use stairs and escalators. That's one thing I have learned to use with my rollator is escalators. Have you been with me when I've used?
No.
Okay.
How does that work? You just put the escalator on first.
To put the escalator on first?
Huh? I'm on drugs.
Basically, it is a lot of wedging a set of wheels into the escalator. So when I'm going up, I kind of roll in.
Yeah.
And I basically hold it so that I can like push my legs up against where the seat is and hold it until I get up to the top and I just roll out. When I go down, when you roll out, when we get
take off.
When I go down, I get on and I hold up the front wheels, and I basically lock it into.
You lock in?
I lock in. I lock in the back wheels into the like corner of the escalator until I get to the bottom, and I can do that, but it's not very stable.
Yeah.
And especially if like I have stuff.
When you're going down, it seems like you're keeping the rollator up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I have friends who are really helpful, who, if they're with me, they will make sure that my rollator manages up. Because I took my rollator with me to New York earlier this year. I took the train up to New York, which is something that I was talking to you about earlier. The station that's... which one is that? Is that Penn Station in the middle of New York?
It's in Grand Central Station?
No, Penn Station.
I've never been.
The one that's under Madison Square Garden. Anyways, so underground, hun. The trains go underground.
I know the trains do, but like the station.
The station is underground.
I don't think I've been in an underground station. Usually
Yeah.
the train is down and then you go up and the building is on ground.
Yeah, well, like it's like a bunch of underground stuff. And anyways, the main way to get down and up in the station is escalators. So thankfully, my friend who I was with, it was a really tall escalator, like a really, really tall escalator. But thankfully,
There are incredibly tall escalators at DragonCon.
I'm sure. Thankfully, I know how to navigate escalators with my rollator. If I didn't, it would make things a lot harder. I have people who have carried my rollator up and down stairs for me. Just because, again, like Katsucon and Magfest at the Gaylord, just sometimes getting
Right.
an
Yeah,
elevator.
how was that with like parking garages?
Parking garages, I don't think I've had too much issue with so far, at least. Because most have elevators. So I haven't run into that issue in parking garages yet. I'm still working. I don't have a placard to like indicate that I can that I'd be able to use the handicap parking spots. Unfortunately, because I don't have a diagnosis, I don't have like a doctor's note to.
I wonder if I could get one.
You probably could. But I don't. And so a lot of people assume since I have a mobility aid that I do.
Right.
Fun fact, you can buy your own mobility aids. Thankfully, they're not that expensive, which is wonderful
Yeah, I'm glad
news.
that's not like a prescription only thing.
Yeah. A lot of people assume that it is.
Yeah.
But
Well, I think with some like insurance will cover it.
insurance will definitely cover it, especially like, if it's prescribed. But it is not limited to only people who have actual prescriptions. Are we playing toesies under the table?
I just felt something. I was like, I'm just glad you have socks on. Wait, I was gonna say, like, unrelated to disability or anything. The last time I was in a parking garage, we had to use the stairs because just the elevator was too busy and it wasn't coming, and we had to get somewhere. There were no lights in the stairs, so Ariane had to just use their flashlight in the stairwell. 'Cause it was pitch black in there.
Oh, God.
And then later that night, when we went from the hotel to the after party, we go to the parking garage to get their car. We don't see a single person or car from leaving our hotel room to getting to their car. And then we couldn't find the way out of the parking garage, and we were mini panicking
you were
for
in
a
the
second.
back rooms.
I took a video. I was like, we're in like the park rooms or something. We said the car rooms.
But you were in a level of the back rooms.
No, because it was dusk, so we could see, and we could see that there were no people anywhere. I was like, is everyone just early to the party? Like, there's no other.
Welcome to Altoona, Pennsylvania.
There was no one in the parking garage. There weren't even other cars. The cars got raptured. All the Transformers got raptured, except for Ariane's Honda Civic.
Why did you have to say that when I had liquid in my mouth?
It's the best time. Careful, SpongeBob.
Tears in my eyes.
Good job. Good job.
The cars got wrapped.
The cars got raptured. I know, I'm incredibly funny. But like,
What were you even saying?
we were talking about parking garages and mobility, and then I just started thinking about parking garages and how that was just insane. Because then we couldn't find, they were on like the 3rd level or something. And we kept going trying to get down and somehow missed the exit. So then they were like, wait, and then we started going up again and we reached the top level. And we're stuck.
Parking garages are really confusing.
We started saying it as a
Katsucon.
joke, but then we couldn't get out.
Oh my God, Katsucon, when I went, So I went in for the day. I got there on Saturday, like a Saturday afternoon, because I was just there to see some friends. I'm kind of local to the area. I had to park all the way over at the MGM. So
And I know how far that is.
yeah. There was literally no parking in the entire harbor. Of course, I had my mobility aid with me.
Yeah.
It is February. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh, you can just walk.
We didn't even walk from MagFest to MGM. Like, we took an Uber when we went.
We took an Uber, so I had
and
to
it
call...
was a bit.
I had to call an Uber.
Right.
Navigating Ubers with
Yeah, I was
mobility
gonna ask.
aid. Because overall, you see how I manage it.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. It folds up.
Yeah. And Ubers are usually pretty good with, like, when I have, like, a suitcase.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. It gets a little messy if they have, like, shit in their trunk.
I've never gotten in an Uber with stuff in the trunk.
I have had it a few times.
Huh.
But I had to call an Uber to get me from the MGM to the Gaylord.
Before I forget, I do have a B plot about a lift.
A B plot.
You had to get an Uber.
I had to get an Uber from the MGM to the Gaylord, which that was a fucking mess in and of itself because the police didn't want to let people drive into the harbor because there was no parking anywhere. So we had to like explain that he was, you know, a rideshare driver. An Uvu Jabber. I've never been to Uvu Jabber. Thankfully, we finally got in. What should be like a 2-minute ride was like 20 minutes. Eventually, I got into
That was me thinking I was leaving for the Philly train station early and then taking like 10 minutes to get the last mile to the train station and just being on time. Because my train was leaving at like 5 p.m. So we were in Philly at 5.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I finally got in.
That's what he said.
Oh my god. So, like, I had to... It's always, like... Of course, I put stuff in, like, the bag part, and so it's always a production of getting all of my shit off, like, out of or off
Because it won't collapse with that.
I won't collapse with the stuff in it. And I usually, like, I like my cups. I like to have a drink with me, and I have a cup holder on the side. So it's like, okay, I have to get my cup out of here. I have to get my purse out of here. I need to get my coat. Huh?
You have purse?
Purse?
You have purse? Is that one you don't know?
Mm-mm.
Oh. Okay, never mind.
You keep making this reference, and I'm like, yeah, totally. I'm just like, yeah. We'll go back to that. Anyways, but it's always, and of course, like, I also had packed stuff so that, like, if I needed to stay the night, so I had a ton of shit with me. So I have to take it all off of and out of my rollator, load that shit into the backseat of the Uber with me, then I have to load the fucking rollator onto the Uber. We drive. I have to get there. I have to take the shit out of the Uber, pack up all my shit onto that again, and then I can, like, be done with it. And it's always a production, especially when I'm alone.
Yeah.
Because I've had Ubers where I've had people with me who have been able to help. You know, like, getting it in and out of the car is annoying, but I'm thankfully able to do it by myself.
Are there specific Ubers that are more, like, accessible? Is that an option on the menu?
I don't think I've ever like looked into it. I would assume that the, like, Uber XLs are more, like, accessible because they're larger.
So, like, there should be an option for, like, wheelchair users.
Yeah. The issue is with wheelchair users is, everyone has, different
Yeah.
needs and their chairs are different. And so a lot of people have to depend on their own transportation.
Yeah.
So I haven't really looked into Uber accessibility at all, but that would be something I should look into. Because most of the time, thankfully now, I don't have to worry about Ubers. But in cases like that where I have to,
Yeah.
otherwise it's walking, which already is a strain on me.
Yeah. You'd be like done for the day. And thankfully, I'm assuming you didn't have anything like pressing schedule wise that you had to get there.
No,
quickly
I was
for.
literally just there to like fuck around, see some friends.
Yeah. Because like I know like disabled people who vend or do panels and stuff, and that's a whole other issue because you have to be there at a certain time, and they often have to like account for things being difficult.
Yeah. Trying to think. I feel like I've had issues with that, but I cannot think of anything off the top of my head right now.
I've missed a flight because they didn't know how to deal with the ice pack I had in my purse for my insulin.
I think, you told me about that.
Thankfully, like, they did, at no charge, put me and the person I was with on a connecting flight at no charge, because I thought that's just what happened, but I've heard if you miss your flight, you generally have to pay for another one.
If you miss it because of your own,
Yeah.
like if you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna get here and I didn't make it through security in time. Yes.
Yeah.
But
if
if they specifically held you up, then that's on them.
Yeah. So like I did end up having to get a different ice pack that doesn't like trigger alarms because it's fully encased and everything. But yeah, they had to take it out and they had to swab the insulin, the syringes, the ice pack, the me, everything about that. Even on the last flight, like I did get pulled aside because they had to swab the monitor, which hadn't ever happened before. So it's interesting how it is a different experience at every airport.
Every airport is different. Last time I went to Florida, when I was coming back from Orlando, I had my hair up in a bun on the top of my head, and they had to like
they had to search your butt.
search my butt.
Okay, that's
they're
weird.
like, they're like, can I? And I was like, they basically just like didn't touch my bun.
Okay,
and
that's
like,
so
there's
weird.
no
Because the
buttons or
last
anything.
2 times I flew, I wore a wig because I didn't want to put it in my suitcase.
Also after
How did
this,
I get away with
watched
that?
them pull aside a woman who was trying to take an air fryer as like her personal item. She just had an air fryer with her.
Airports are insane because it is never the same experience.
This is Orlando. Orlando
this
Airport
was-
is wild.
Leaving LA, so through LAX was when this got swabbed for the first time. But again, wearing a wig, and they didn't
Yeah, wigs
do that.
I'm sure that they see a lot of wigs, especially
One, I don't know if it registers as a wig.
maybe.
Because like a bun, obviously you have something up here that
they
could have
just wanted
something
to
in
make
it.
sure that I didn't have any
But,
like
like,
weapons or something.
I'm sure if I had something in my wig, it would have triggered. I
would've,
was
yeah,
just
would
concerned
trigger
about that
something.
because I was like, okay, this wig is like kind of poofy. It takes up space in my bag. So what if I just wear it?
Yeah.
And that worked. The other thing I've noticed at airports is that is where everyone decides to have a fight in public. So,
You know what? You're not wrong.
the last time, yeah. What, were you that person?
No, my family decides to have fights because you have, of course, it's inner family fighting.
Yeah.
It's never fighting with someone else.
That's good.
It's always with your family. No, my family likes to fight in the Disney park.
I've definitely heard of that happening with other people. They're like, I went to Disney with people, and oh my god, they fought the whole time.
Yeah, because you will.
That's why I hate traveling with couples. Oh. They will decide to have a problem with me there.
Yeah, being constantly with like people who
Yeah.
you're not usually with a lot of the time, when you are hot hungry,
Yeah.
dehydrated, and overstimulated, and also probably in pain from walking. That was one of my.
Yeah.
I get so bitchy.
Yeah.
You
bitchy. I've never seen that before.
Oh, when I get overstimulated, I'm an asshole. I snap at people.
I don't snap at people, but I've had several people tell me that I was rude to them at a con because I didn't notice them saying hi, and so I didn't say hi back.
So many people are like that, but it's just like, bro, there's like, so much going on.
Bro, I get auditory overstimulation so bad. So if there's a bunch of sounds happening at once, it's very hard for me to notice them. I usually at a con, I am hungry, I'm working, and so I'm very focused. And so if I'm walking a con, I am typically on my way to work or bathroom between work. And so this guy at a con actually was like telling my friend, I thought he was joking at first because who even says this? He was sitting at the bar with my friend and he told her, because I walked up to say hi to my friend, and I assumed she knew him because he'd been sitting next to her at the bar talking for a while. Turns out she did not know him. He had just been sitting at the bar talking at her for like 10 minutes, so she was glad I came over. But I came over to say hi to her, which I almost didn't do because I didn't want to interrupt and be rude. But I went over and he was like, oh yeah, May, she was very rude to me at a con. And like we all laughed because who says that, right? And then he was like, no, like she didn't say hi to me. I was like,
yeah, that's like you can't honestly, you can't judge people based off of just like a passing moment at a con. Like it takes a lot more than that, and usually at cons people are overstimulated, tired, a lot of times drinking. Do not trust your impression of someone.
Some sort of influence.
There are a lot of influences at cons, let's be real. I have seen
also,
things.
Like, people wear, like, contacts and masks and things that obscure your vision.
And I'm bad with faces and people, and they're like, you know who I am? And I'm like, bro, we have never met before.
God, no, I've had several people come up to me and say, like, oh, we met before. I was masked character. Not any of the masked characters that, like, we know now. I'm talking about, like, Spider-Mans and Power Rangers.
I'm like, you all look the same.
Like,
or, like, people that I'm friends with on Facebook.
Yeah,
but, like, they don't post pictures of themselves really all that often. And they're like, yeah, I'm this person. I'm like,
yeah, no,
I'm sorry.
I feel bad because I don't, I've met, like, quite a few of my Twitter mutuals, and they recognized me, and I felt bad that I didn't recognize them, but they don't have their picture. Yeah, they don't have their photos.
People are, I don't know if it's just me or it's just because, like, we both post, we're both so comfortable posting our faces online.
And we've been very active online before our current, like, ghost community. So, like, I've been cosplaying for, like, over 10 years, like...
As have I. So.
Yeah, especially, like, professionally for, like, 4 or so. So, my face is everywhere. My name is everywhere. My number's everywhere. I don't really worry about that.
It's just so wild when people are, like, trigger warning my face, and I'm like... But also, it's just, like, people recognize us. We're very recognizable. I have people who I've never seen their faces before. They're just like, Rhiley. I'm like, who the fuck are you?
It was really cute. I got recognized at the Ghost movie yesterday. Because we were packing up our stuff, and there was someone on the layer above us who had a plushie. So I waved my plushie at them, and then someone else just turned around to look and went, oh my god, I recognize you from TikTok. And they said, like, I asked for a picture, but my phone's dead, and their mom had their phone. So, like, I went up, and they were just, like, really sweet and, like, almost seemed like just excited to meet me. And I was like, okay, like...
Yeah. It's so fun. It's so funny just meeting people who, like, don't post their face online. Yeah. I'm like, I know what you look like now.
That was genuinely my first time being recognized, I would say, in public as opposed to, obviously I've been recognized at cons for my content. Like
cons,
I had
concerts.
a TikTok that got 4 million views. For a few months after that, people were recognizing me at cons.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're like, oh, you're filming that video? I'm like, yeah. But yeah, no, that was the first time I was just, I feel like, in public, even though it was at a specific event where I would be more likely to be seen. But yeah, it was different.
Yeah. I've had experience. Like when I lived in Richmond, men on the street. I had just, what do we call it? What did he say to me? Are you on webcam?
I was about to expect that. I am so thankful that's never happened to me.
This literally today was my first time streaming like that.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, of course, like I have done sex work for a while, but webcam, that was what he what he said he recognized me from.
Have you ever been like recognized just like by someone like from high school?
Oh my god.
Like that is something that can't happen to me, but people are always talking about like, wait, where was I? Was I with you or someone like? No, it was at Chapel Roan with my friend.
Oh.
Someone like walked past us and didn't recognize her, but I went to high school with her.
I definitely get that all the time, especially because right now I live in my hometown.
Yeah.
So I get that happens to me a decent amount. Going to cons, I do see people that I went to school with. People that I didn't realize were like someone that one of my old coworkers, I actually ended up seeing at CloseCon East last year because he was DJing. Nice. I didn't know he DJ'd. I didn't know he attended cons. And I was like, holy shit, we were coworkers.
Yeah.
And he just started going to cons. And I was like,
cute.
Yeah, I was just like, I see, of course, I ran an anime club in high school. So I see people all the time.
Yeah. Like, and now you have your cafe.
Yeah, and I have my maid cafe. So I see people,
so
people recognize.
If you want to meet Rhiley, go to the
Pixel Pop Maid Cafe.
What is your next event?
I'm not sure what my next event is, and I'm trying to remember what is the current next event. But if you ever see Maid Luna, silver hair, that's me.
There's a picture of her.
There. Yes, actually, May took a wonderful photo of me at SetsuCon. 5. Some really nice photos of me at SetsuCon. We do lots of events, like year round. I'm trying to think. I know that they're doing actually an event in Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure either just happened or is about to happen. But that's not one I'm gonna be at. We have actually quite a few maids, so I'm not at every event, but I try to be there at least once or twice a year. So I get recognized out of Maid by people who are a little like, we have fans of the cafe.
Oh, yeah. You have regulars.
We have regulars, and so there are people who will recognize me out of my Maid stuff, and they're like, "Oh, Maid Luna." I'm like, yeah, it's interesting getting recognized out of.
Did you get to pick your name?
Yeah. Yeah, it's because my maid Sona is a Yorha unit, like near, because we are a video game cafe. So so we all get to choose our own names at the cafe. So yeah, maid Luna. So there's stars on my cheeks when I'm Luna.
I have so many friends who are like, I am Moon.
I mean, I've always loved the name Luna, and it just fit for the character. So. Yeah.
And it works out perfectly because everyone's like, you are Sun.
Okay.
Never beating the Sun allegations.
Never beating the Sun allegations. We're so off topic. We just yap.
That's what happens.
That's what happens.
When you're yappins.
It does happen when we're yappins. I did want to talk about an experience I had at MagFest with my role leader. So it was a late night panel. We were at the Church of Olive Garden. This is unironically a panel that I attended. And so people went up to receive the Holy Communion.
Oh, I thought you were just at Olive Garden.
No, this is an event at MagFest.
Okay.
It was like at 2:30 in the morning.
I've never really done MagFest fully. There was the one time that I went, but it was my first time, and I was just like, did not know what was going on.
This coming year, we'll have to like truly get you in the full MagFest spirit, because MagFest in its full glory is so much fun. So 2:30 in the morning in a panel room. This place is like pretty full. So we have the Church of Olive Garden. We have confession. We have we chose a saint. It was for anyone who is local to Philly or understands the lore of Philadelphia. The new saint that we had chosen was a mummer.
It was going to be Saint Gritty.
No, Saint Gritty would be awesome. So like we could we could choose like people nominated various like figures to be a saint of the Church of Olive Garden, but this guy in his full mummer getup, you know, I mean, you obviously live near Philly, so
I don't actually
you
know what
don't
that
know
is.
what oh my god.
I live near Philly, but I never got like super into a Philly culture.
So mummers every year on New Year's Day have a whole parade. So
This is New Year's Day.
rise up from the ashes. So New Year's Day, Philly locals get together. They dress up in these kind of like big flashy costumes, almost clown-like, and they'll play instruments and they have a whole parade. I have like attended. Oh, it is a whole thing, like a whole full day thing.
Wait, a parade in January?
Oh, it was horribly cold. It was so fucking cold. I hated that experience, I will be honest. Because the thing is that the mummers, after they are done with the parade, like after they finish like getting through the parade route, they just go and they fuck around in the streets for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So, but this guy showed up with a banjo in his full mummer getup, and we're like, dude, your vibes. And he became the new saint of the Church of Olive Garden.
Oh, you pick it that day?
Yeah, we like within the panel, as part of the panel. And so we voted to make this guy a saint of the Church of Olive Garden. But so we received the Holy Communion of the breadsticks.
An entire breadstick?
I think we got like a third of a breadstick or a half of a breadstick, just so that we could, because there were a lot of people. And I think it was at the end that they were handing out badge ribbons. And this was at MagFest, and you saw my badge ribbons from MagFest. So it was like, you know, Dragon Con kind of. So of course everyone wants the ribbons. I had gone up with my rollator. People are not aware of their surroundings. And one of the issues with having my rollator is that it sits at like hip level. And people just not aware. And I got shoved forward. So I was basically, my rollator is like against the stage in the panel room. And I got shoved forward. So like my knees are basically hitting where the seat is. And my body got shoved forward over the rollator.
So was it like a standing area?
Yeah, well, like we were getting up. We were just up at the front by the stage getting ribbons from the person who was hosting the panel. And people were just so aggressive about it that they shoved me forward. And I was like, holy shit. Like,
it's just a ribbon. You'll get your ribbon.
I know, yeah. Like, I got pushed forward. Happens in elevators, too.
Literally, if that happened to me, I would just fall dramatically.
Yeah, like it's like people are not, because they see an empty space beside me, and assume that there is an empty space,
right?
Even though that's where my rollator is. Okay. So I've taken to sitting when I'm like, instead of taking up space next to my rollator, I just end up sitting
Yeah.
on it so that, there isn't confusion. Just makes things simpler.
Yeah. Do you ever just like kneel on the seat?
Oh, yeah. Like, I kneel on it, especially, like, if I just need a break for my knees or my ankles. Mm-hmm. Or, like, I don't know if you've...
Feet, yeah.
I don't know if you've seen me, like, I'll put, like, a knee up on the seat.
Yeah. That's just, like, what my mind would automatically do, just to, like...
Let's see. I had people almost, like, walk backwards into me with my rollator.
I feel like there were people almost bumping into you at Amon Amarth when we were in the bar area.
Oh my god, trying to like navigate that in the bar area.
Yeah, and trying to park it.
I was like trying to get it out of like the out of the way. I always try and keep things out of the way because I like to be conscious of the people around me. That's always how I've been. Is like I don't want to bother people around me.
Yeah.
And it's not like I think that like the fact that I have a disability or or I have because I have my mobility aid that I'm an inconvenience to people. I don't like to have that mindset, even though of course my mind will go to that. But I just like to be considerate to people around me. I don't want to be, taking up space in like the flow of traffic. But that was kind of a struggle as we were sitting there because I was trying to pull it in so that it just, would sit flush with where we were sitting. Like it's always a time trying to navigate with it.
Yeah.
Just because people don't see it.
Yeah.
Another experience I had at MagFest, pretty sure this is at MagFest. This is either at MagFest or Katsuka. I'm pretty sure it was at MagFest. I had a guy come up to me and ask if it was like morally okay to flirt with disabled people.
Okay.
He's like, is
just
it
say no?
He's like, I'm just saying like this in general, like not specifically directed towards you, but oh hi, Skye's back. Hi honey. But asked if it was like, okay to hit on people who are disabled. And I was like, yeah. Like obviously if there's some things that, whereas intellectual disabilities and stuff, there are obviously exceptions to this, but people who are just generally like physically
but just a physical issue,
like a physical disability, like I'm just a normal person.
Are maybe they're worried about it like seeming like they're fetishizing the disability?
It's either that or it felt very infantilizing because the idea of these people just can't consent. Or like these people have the minds of children. Yeah. Because a lot of people, especially when they're thinking of like autistic people.
Yeah. Or
they're just like, oh, these are like, it's like, oh, this person is just basically a child. Like they're so helpless. They're basically a child. And I was like, dude, I'm just a normal person. I just happen to have this thing that helps me because my body doesn't like me that much. And so it was such an interesting conversation to have with someone. This dude was definitely drunk, but he like asked me if it was morally. Oh, okay. your friend's. Get out of there! That's not for you. But it's just if it's morally okay to hit on disabled people. I was like, dude, I'm just a normal person. Yeah. Like, I'm mentally, like, I'm right there with you, even though I'm like...
Oh, yeah, you are totally mentally sound.
Sure. Like, I'm not Will Graham. I'm still grounded in reality, baby.
It is not morally okay to hit on Will Graham, is the stance you just took.
It really isn't.
You just... I'm not Will Graham. So you can hit on me, but you can't hit on Will Graham. Okay.
Only Hannibal can do that.
Okay.
Hannibal can hit on me, too.
Oh, yeah.
Hannibal should not be hitting on anyone either, let's be real.
He doesn't really, like...
He really doesn't. He's just in love with Will.
He could
We've been watching
he could
Hannibal.
be such a slut if he wanted to, but he doesn't. Like,
Yeah. Well,
Get
at
some
least
bitches.
at least in where we're at in a Hannibal.
yeah.
Will Graham is not mentally sound in the slightest.
And like, at
He's
least Alana recognizes that. She's like, you are not stable enough.
See, exactly. Alana understood that he is not mentally sound enough to be flirted with.
Yeah. Hannibal said, I can make him worse.
He really did. He's like, we're going to be your dads,
We're
Abigail.
like halfway in the first season, and he has made him worse already.
That was so much worse.
Listen, we are her fathers. Okay, I'm a dad with you now.
But no, Will is like in full psychosis. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of the time.
Well, he's literally neurologically disabled and doesn't know it at the time.
This is true. Don't flirt with Will Graham.
That is the stance we're taking in this episode. I feel like that's happened in several episodes. Someone has said something, and then it just turns into like, this podcast stands by the statement, do not flirt with Will Graham.
No. Don't kiss him.
Rules of life.
Rules of life. Don't flirt with Will Graham. He's too autistic for that.
Okay. Since I mentioned it earlier, before we wrap, I just want to tell my quick Lyft story.
Oh, yeah.
That's wild, and I want more people to know about it.
Was this the cat one?
Did I tell you about that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I had to use Lyft to take my cat to and from the vet one day, and I looked up ahead of time because I hadn't put a cat in a Lyft before, if that was allowed, and the Lyft website literally said, it's up to a driver's discretion, but when you get a ride confirmed, message the driver, ask if it's okay, and if it's not, cancel the ride. I'm like, perfect. So the first driver, he was so cool and chill. Like, I hope we get this guy again. He was like, yeah, I take pets all the time. My cat was very quiet in the back too, and he even had like a pet liner on the seat. Like, he was prepared to take like dogs. So that was great. I got to the vet with no problem. At the vet, my cat was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And so obviously I was not in a great mental state when I was booking the second Lyft. But the vet was amazing though, because they like gave me like all the time I needed and like a separate room to go like relax in. It was great. So I did not have to go straight out from that. But I get the second one, I send them the same message. I said, hey, I have a calm, quiet cat with me in a hard shell carrier. If that's a problem, I totally understand. Let me know and I will cancel the ride. And instead of communicating with me in the app where there's a message trail, she said, call me. So I call her. Soon as she picks up, she just begins yelling at me on the phone, saying like, we don't take animals, that's Uber, that's against the rules, which no, it is not. It's up to your discretion. I can't make you. You are not required to take my pet. But Lyft does not ban pets in cars. And I was trying to very calmly explain while very stressed. You know, I've done this before. The driver said this, your rules say this, and she was just not letting me speak, yelling at me, and she was also just saying stuff that like didn't apply. She was like, you can't tell me to cancel the ride. Like, I didn't. I said, let me know if it's okay and I will cancel the ride. And then she said, with the audacity to say, okay, I'll take your pet, but you have to like pre-send this amount of tip.
Like outside the app? Or?
No, but like you have to send it before you even get in the car.
Demanding a tip is not.
I'm pretty sure that's against the rules too.
That's also probably against the rules.
Extorting a tip.
Extort it, yeah, that was.
Yeah, lying about the rules in order to extort a tip. So I didn't have time for that, and so she was rambling, and I just said like, all right, never mind, bye. Canceled the car.
Right.
The only time I've ever like used Uber for myself, I downloaded Uber. Because at that point I was like, okay, maybe Uber is better with this. So I downloaded Uber, had a super nice driver. She was perfectly okay with the cat. She was happy to see him. We got home mostly okay. We had to take a detour because there was an SUV flipped right in front of St. Patrick's.
Oh yeah, you told me
you about that because Rhiley was driving. Other Rhiley. And so yeah, I got home fine. But yeah, fuck that bitch. The Trisha who you met at the vet office, she's so nice.
So nice.
She was there for this whole Lyft thing because she was making sure that I was getting home okay after getting bad news. And she was like so mad on my behalf at this driver. She was like, well, shit, now I'm mad. I didn't even talk to her. What the fuck? Don't
That sounds like Trisha.
She's so cool.
She's so nice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So, like, everything turned out fine. I, like, it didn't, like, hit me that hard because I was more just, like, confused. But, like, holy shit, that could have made, like, my emotional state so much worse to just be immediately yelled at. And she was like, oh, you should have just been like, damn it, my cat's dying. Fuck you. But, like, I reported the interaction in the app as best I could. Got a credit. But, yeah, just... For anyone who is unaware, it is completely okay to ask if you can bring your pet. It is okay for them to say no. It is not okay for them to yell at you about it or try to extort money from you. And it's like, the first driver, he got a nice tip for being cool about the cat. She would have gotten a nice tip automatically if she was chill about the cat. And then she got nothing and a bad points. So just be fucking nice.
yeah.
Be fucking nice, or I will cause problems.
You will cause problems.
No, I don't cause that many problems.
I have a hard time being a Karen. I don't like to
I'll do it for other people. I will do like
I will.
He said no pickles. I don't like killing bugs. I will kill a bug if someone is afraid of it, because obviously I'll prioritize person fear over bug. But like, no, I become a different person if someone else has a need.
But if it's myself.
I almost punched a man in a Georgia bar because he was being a dick to my friend. Mm-hmm. We were all like
I'm assuming this is Dragon Con.
One of the Walking Dead cons down there. But like we were all at a bar afterwards, which was like a post-con event. Mm-hmm. And we were basically minding our business. We were off to the side. And this guy, we were sitting at like a bench seat at a table. And this guy stood up on the bench seat next to my friend who was on the end of the seat and was just like being super rowdy. And then like we got him to get down from there. And then the only man who was with our group went off to like get security or something aware of him. But then he was still circling around us and he was like joking about like pouring his beer on my friend's head, and like she couldn't really get up from her seat where she was, and I went over and I was about to punch him.
You've had to hold me back from doing stuff. You've seen me.
It was the first time I had to hold me back because like I had also had a drink. I was a little more confident, and I just like I went around the table and I was about to and then at that point like the bar security had come over, so they started like pulling him away when I was about to punch him.
Oh my god.
So I've never punched a man, but I would have had such fun doing it that time.
So speaking of Ubers/Lyfts and men being assholes, have you ever been hit on by an Uber driver?
I have not, thankfully.
Oh, you're so lucky. It's happened so many times that I've been asked for like my number.
That's the one time I was worried about it was when I actually ended up accepting a ride from our friend instead of Uber, even though I had just met this guy like the day before at a con. But I still I felt safer with him. One, because of vibes, and two, just because I was like, even though with Uber and Lyft, it's like there's a like process. Like if someone is inappropriate, you can report them and everything. I was in costume. It was 2 a.m. I was really tired. I was in a tattered costume with blood all over me. I so didn't want to explain anything.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a 20-minute ride home from there. I was like, I don't want to be in a car with someone I don't know for 20 minutes. And so when he offered the ride, I thought for like a couple of quick seconds and I was like, sure. Like, I'd be so easy to kidnap.
Don't say that online.
Oops. No, because then, like, I don't know if I told you, like, the next week or something, or, like, the first time we, like, hung out. We'd hung out one time before that, did a photo shoot, went home, whatever. The second time we ever hung out, he was like, we didn't have specific plans. He was just in town to do errands at stores in the area and was like, do you want to tell him? I was like, okay, sure, let's hang out. And then he was like, oh, like, you know, it's early. Do you want to go to the New Jersey Pine Barrens?
Yeah, you told me about this. I know exactly who you're talking about.
And I was like,
he's
sure.
Cool.
No, he's
cool.
great. Like, he's super
him.
trustworthy. But at that time, I'd only hung out with him like one time. And I was just going off of vibes. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm sure it's fine. Like, no one knew I was going to the Pine Barrens. Like, someone knew.
Totally murdered.
Someone knew that I was with him, but only knew, like, his first name. Didn't know his social, didn't know anything.
See, this is what my mom thinks I'm doing.
Yeah. And then, yeah, like, it was literally just, like, it was also just a very wholesome outing. Like, we went out to the Pine Barrens, and we were just, like, looking around. And
just
cool
looked at the Pine Barrens.
We literally did. We were like, oh, it's so cool and spooky. And then we went to this old, like, cemetery and just looked at the cemetery, and it was cool. And then we went home. There was one time where I thought he was going to do one of those, like stereotypical, like, high school jock, like, scare pranks. Because we got out of the car, and he turned the car lights off, and it is pitch black out there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, you can see the space.
You can see the space. You can see the space.
You see the space. But nothing else. And so we were walking just, like, kind of around the car. And then at one point, like, he went quiet, and I didn't know where he was. And for a second, I was like, God damn it, he's going to jump scare me. But then he just started talking again. I was like, oh, that would have been a perfect opportunity to just scare me shitless. It would have been funny. But, no. It would have been one of the, like, oh, yeah, you ass things. But no. It was a great, great experience. Second time I went to the Pine Barrens, that's the last time I got tonsillitis immediately afterwards. So now I'm like, I don't know if I can go back again. Because it's funky out there.
Oh, I bet.
In specific areas. Like, the first time we went, it was fine. Second time, the vibes were not good. And then I immediately got, like, sick, and I felt like I was cursed for a month because no one was figuring out what happened. So I'm dubious of the Pine Barrens. I will respect them, and I will leave them alone. We should wrap. It's been an hour and a half.
I thought it'd been longer, honestly.
Oh my god, no.
We can yap and yap and yap.
So easy. All right. So, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, and so StaticDetonator, all one word, on both of those. Static.detonator on TikTok, or if you're on Ghost Twitter, Simp Imperator.
And all of the links are in the description.
And that should cover it. Yeah,
I'm maiden art on everything except here, where I think I'm just maiden because I didn't want to give that up. If you are watching on YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe. Tell us in the comments what other topics you want, what guests you want. You can pretty much pick from any of my friends. And if you're on Spotify, please follow the podcast. I don't know how interactive that is. I don't know if you can comment, but this was recorded like a month ago. I haven't even started putting these on Spotify yet. So we'll see it when we see it.
Yeah, and hopefully we can do this again.
Yes. I'd love to have regular guests.
Oh my god, I love to yap. And
yes.
We yap so much. So
it will be easy. So yes, if you want to have Rhiley back, pump it up. And thank you for making it yappin' with me.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for watching us making it yappin'. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye!